If you're a trans person, you feel like you have to be perfect because anything you do is going to negatively impact the entirety of the community. And I feel like that is why a lot of trans people don't want to do like anything activists like typically do. They don't want to be loud and be seen as like obnoxious. I feel like this anti-SJW type of content from like 2012 literally ruined so much. When do you think we're gonna see this website in Hewwo video? Never. He doesn't talk about me. It's kind of funny. You know how like Asmongold was like, oh, you cry all you want. This is just making it funnier for me. Anytime they talk about me, they're literally making me more popular. The thing is like, these people cannot engage with my arguments because they don't know enough about the topic, and all they do is like, oh, look at this woke person talking about children again. This trans woman wants to groom all the children and make them trans, and is advocating for 8-year-olds to get their genitalia chopped off. This is just nonsense. And a lot of people are looking at that and they're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, that is not what this person is advocating for. So a lot of people actually like agree with me, but I'm a VTuber, so a lot of people don't care. It's also like, oh, internet drama. It's not about like, oh, trans rights being taken away and them pushing like a hateful rhetoric. It's like, oh, one creator is beefing with another creator, so a lot of people don't care. And I hope that maybe through this whole project I can change it a little bit and make my content not about like, oh, I'm exposing streamers for their extremism, but instead I'm just sharing and highlighting the talking points of right-wingers so more people can like directly call it out. Is it a personal one for the Nyara brand? It is not. I'm working on this basically. It is going to be called transcentralize.fyi, where we have transphobic claims. You can go on it, and we can also have like stories of trans people, most likely a lot of trans creators, because I need to vet these stories. That is what I'm working on. That is what I'm trying to build with all of this, and it's going to take a lot of effort and time, but I think it's going to be worth it in the long run, because like I had these same conversations over and over again. That is why I can talk about it so well, because like 8-9 years ago I was playing AFK Arena and got hit with the same bullshit. Oh, you are autogynephiliac males and you want to sexualize yourself. Oh, it's just a... Like, I heard these things so often, and I know how to address these things, and that is why these right-wingers cannot... Like, they cannot engage with the argument. All they are doing is cutting me out of context, pushing lies, reacting to some guy who is spreading the same nonsensical rhetoric and then going like, oh, wow, that's crazy. What a freak. It is always the same. But they see that I'm literally just gaining more popularity anytime they talk about me. That is literally why Ref doesn't talk about me. That is why he pretends to not know who I am. Like, even Kirsche doesn't really engage with what I'm saying. Just sometimes goes like, oh, look, this is crazy. If all they had to do was just not talk about total Foxu victory, and then everybody would have left this trans person alone. They don't really mention me. And I think that's kind of funny. My mom literally hit me with the AGP. Yeah, it's... But like, these talking points, like, they need to be properly addressed. And I think if I have a website, then somebody can go, hey, look, mom, this is the claim. Here's how it's been debunked. Maybe this can change somebody's mind. That is what I want to do. I want to change like somebody's mind, because there's so much propaganda. I don't know how successful this is going to be. Like, I don't know what to expect from this, but I'm just going to try. Submitting stories will be creator only. That feels gatekeepy. The thing is, like, I need to vet that stuff. I want to make it more accessible for other people, but I think I'm going to, like, start with my friends. Like, obviously, I want to expand on this, but, like, you know, I'm talking about, like, in the next couple of weeks. I need to find, like, a better solution for other people, because, like, I don't know how well I can, like, handle the moderation of everything. By making videos and get views, try to get yourself in lonely male communities, it might work. These people hate women. A lot of incels hate women. Or like all incels actually hate women. So a lot of these male streamers who have a predominantly male audience, they are not going to care about it. They don't even care that Tectone is an abuser because they don't care about what happens to women. It's like, oh, what if the woman is lying? Well, we gotta support our, like, one of us. And then they turn around and like shame innocent trans women and being like, oh, you're the reason why this woman got beaten up. If you wouldn't insist on going into the women's restroom, then men wouldn't have to go into the men's restroom and beat up women. They don't care what happens to women. They don't care what happens to trans women specifically because they like lies and our existence. It's like, oh, you asked for it because you came out as trans. You started transitioning, so you've been asking for it. It's just like finding excuses in order to like justify the behavior, the abusive behavior of cis straight men. Why aren't people tolerant of the intolerant, right? You wanting to censor Nazis is actually like a bad thing because like, what about free speech? And actually, that's just like someone's opinion. And if they hate you for your existence and spread misinformation and lies, that's just like their opinion, and it doesn't have to align with the facts because I actually agree with the sentiment. That's literally abusive logic. Why did you make me want to do this? That is literally what like Astrongoat hit me with. It's like, oh, actually, like I don't want to do this, but like I feel like I have to because I'm protecting someone's rights. I am actually justified in doing this. Like if you wouldn't have like exposed Kirsch's bigotry, then I wouldn't have to like step in and spread misinformation about you. I wouldn't have to make videos about you and send my cult following after you. You made me do this. That is what they hate us with. They're abusers. It's abusive mentality. There's a big difference between actual censorship and calling out bad behavior. Yeah. Like you can say things, sure, but if I expose that, then that's not me starting a harassment and cancel campaign. That's me just like correcting you and highlighting the transphobia. Just because you say transphobic doesn't mean I cannot expose that transphobic and other people aren't justified in looking at this and being like, well, that's a little bit too much for me. I'm going to like distance myself from you because you're toxic. Freedom of speech isn't freedom from consequence or fact checking. Exactly. But these people turn around and they're like, well, actually this person said that they want to eradicate trans people and that is just their opinion, and you being like, oh, that's actually like a transphobic and thing to say, that is actually restricting this person's freedom of speech, so I'm going to like attack you for speaking up. You should have known better. I hate that you are making me do this. Freedom of speech shouldn't be abused to harm marginalized groups. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why there are two different pills in the manosphere. Not even the RP would want to have anything to do with incels besides raking in their money. I mean, you know, like the thing is like, especially when it comes to like VTubers or like streamers in general, they don't want to get engaged because they rather just want to keep their own community safe. And by calling out transphobic people, you are basically making yourself a target. But the thing is, like, I feel like more people should do that in order to create a safe and healthy environment for all trans people. Especially if you go on Twitter, for example, if you come out as trans, you're going to have like 100 comments being like, oh, you're a groomer. Oh, you've been abused and now you believe this. Yeah, this is your address. I'm going to send you death threats. Like that. That is just what happens when you let these people roam free without like any form of like pushback. If they can literally do anything they want, marginalized groups are always going to suffer. And then people come along and they give them some pushback by the form of like, hey, you said that with your business account. You have your business in here. I'm just going to share what you are saying to your business. And then they get fired for saying ridiculous. And then they get fired, and then like the right is like, well, you know, this person actually just was sharing their opinion. Like, how dare you make it personal and ruin their life? What do you mean? They want to trans people and then they get fired and now it's our fault. Like, they want to normalize that type of hate speech. People like that do that to everyone. Does anyone in here remember what happened to Chocat? I mean, yeah, they still do that. Huh? So abundantly clear that they don't believe in free speech because they want to criminalize LGBTQIA plus identities and gender affirming healthcare. Oh yeah, like they don't care about free speech or freedom of expression. They literally just want to normalize like talking points. It's always like that. This is just like fascism. They say insane shit on my YouTube page and then they get like removed because YouTube filters them out and then they're like, oh, this person censors comments. Oh, how dare you remove my comment for just sharing my opinion. Like, just because you I don't know, in an envelope, send it to me per mail, doesn't mean I have to like hang it out on my fridge. It's just crazy. But these people just want to get away with saying insane stuff without consequences. And if you stand up to it, it's actually like your fault because like, how dare you keep speaking about it? If you wouldn't talk about trans rights, then nobody would come after you. But they still come after trans people in general, so you have to speak up. And I wish more people would do that, to speak up for trans people, for women's rights, for people of color, especially if you're a bigger creator, and push these people out and make your stance clear. It shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be so controversial. And if like 90% of your audience is going to look at that and be like, well, oh, you've been infected by the woke and I'm no longer going to support you. It's like, is that really like the creator, like the fan base that you want as a creator? Like, what the fuck? If you have fascists in your community who create like a toxic environment just because they throw money at you, you're okay with that? You're okay with people like that in your community, in your audience? You don't want to lose these people? Really? I feel like we've been ignoring these fascists way too long. We've been ignoring everybody who's on the right, on the far right, way too long, and it's been way too normalized nowadays. Like, it's crazy to me how people still come along and they're like, oh, we should just like ignore these people. Why do you give these people a platform by highlighting their comments? Do you not see what happens when you ignore these people? They just multiply because more and more people gain the confidence to actually say their awful, disgusting things out loud. It's crazy to me that people are like, oh, you should actually just do your own thing, build your own community, and create a safe space for yourself and just like push these people out. Yeah, but like as a trans person, this is not just like, you know, a thing with me as like a creator. That is like, these people are a danger to trans people in real life. If you don't have enough pushback, it's just normalizing these talking points. Like, it started with like, oh, we don't want men in women's sports. We just want to prevent that a man can wear dresses and go into women's spaces to abuse women. We just want to protect women. Oh, like, we don't actually care about the genuine trans people. We just care about the bad ones that are infecting these spaces, that are claiming this identity to shield themselves from criticism because, like, you know, they want to do bad stuff and, you know, they're using trans people, the genuine good trans people, as a shield, as a disguise in order to do all these bad things. We just care about the bad people, the bad actors. Isn't it good that we want to protect the genuine trans people? Because like, they are dragging your name through the mud. They are doing all these evil things under the guise of being trans. And it went from this to like, oh, actually, trans people don't exist. Actually, being trans is just a mental illness and it should be eradicated from public life. And then people come along and they're like, oh, agree to disagree. Why do you want to force your opinion onto other people? You. If we agree to disagree, we get into like an environment where the fascists always win because they are upholding the status quo and pushing the line further and further to the right. Your opinion is that trans people don't exist, and my opinion is based in facts. It is supported by reality, by my own personal experience and the experience of other trans people. And they talked about, we are trying to get rid of the bad actors. The reply should have been that there are already countries with self-ID laws, and yet none of the issues they were talking about have happened. Exactly, like, doesn't Argentina have like the self-ID law for like 10 years now? And how many bad incidents were there? 1? 2? Maybe? The self-ID law, the one where your ID has your dead name on it? No, self-ID is you being like, hey, actually, I was assigned male at birth, but I am a woman and I would like to change my gender marker to say female. And then you basically fill out a form, you pay the processing fee, and then you get a new ID. I'm from Argentina, and generally bad actors are so rare that when anything happens at all, it's shared all over the news. Yeah. How often do you see people, like especially on Twitter, just spam your replies with like, oh, this one trans woman who was doing something bad, in order to like justify the hatred they have for trans people? Oh, this one drag queen abused a child, and now we're going to obsess over it and continue posting it. It happened 5 years ago once, and we are going to continue using the same story over and over again because there aren't that many stories. But still, like, this one case should actually just basically justify the entire hatred that we have for drag queens and trans people. But then anytime a gender critical person, anytime someone who is gender critical is you know, a child abuser, and then it's going to get suppressed. Anytime a MAGA fanatic is going to do something bad with children, anytime a pastor is doing something with children, it's going to get suppressed. And it happens so often. It happens so often. But these people are like, no, actually, that's just an outlier, but you all are the problem. Completely ignoring how many cis people do horrific things every day. Exactly. Have you heard anything about Any Pants Game? I have, and it's apparently pretty pathetic. They're gonna attack trans people based on bad actors. Can we attack them based on cis people acting up? Honestly, like, the numbers would suggest that actually the Catholic Church shouldn't exist. Priests need to be eradicated from public life. Actually, cis men are abusing women so often that I think it should be justified to say that cis men shouldn't be allowed in public life. Can you imagine if people would like say that? That's ridiculous. That's an insane claim to make. But apparently it's okay to say that about trans people, specifically trans women who are not even the majority of the trans community. Apparently it is okay to say that about drag queens. Apparently it's okay to say that about people of color. Apparently that's okay to say about Muslims. It's just normal to say that about the entirety of the group, and not just like, oh, this is, you know, this person did something bad, and them being trans, them being black didn't like impact that. The recent situation going on with Valorant, where the trans woman, a trans pro player, had allegations come out of harassment and things like that, and then it's like justified to just like shame the entirety of the trans community. This situation is horrible. I hope the victims are able to like move on from this and, you know, not be like traumatized and scarred for life, because holy shit, it's horrible what has happened to them. But like, why can't people be like, oh, I feel bad for the victims, we're going to push this person out? Why do they have to like completely project that onto the entirety of the trans community and be like, oh, this is the reason why trans people need to be eradicated from public life? How is that okay? There are more trans masks than trans femmes. Yeah. I had one of those drag queens readings in primary school once, and it just did not register to me as weird, aside from the makeup being pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just like an art form. It's just someone, you know, drag queens putting on a costume and playing a role. But that's not what trans women do. Trans women are not putting on a costume and doing these things. But apparently it's like, oh, no. Actually, it's the entirety of the trans community, because like there's this one guy who said that they are AGP and they want to be seen as lesser of a man, and that is attracted to them. And that is probably what like these trans women do as well, right? Right? That is the trans experience, right? No, that's just like a gross fetish. It's a misogynistic fetish. a kink that this person has. It's a man who wants to be feminized because they see femininity as inferior and they want to be put in that role. Like, yeah, that's a kink. But like, if a trans person, if a trans woman does something to affirm her gender identity, then that is not something, you know, gender euphoria can feel really nice, but it's not something we do in order to get like sexual pleasure. Trans people are bad and do bad stuff to kids, gives a child trafficker one of the highest jobs in the government. Yeah, exactly. The thing is, like, if you're a trans person, you feel like you have to be perfect because anything you do is going to negatively impact the entirety of the community. And I feel like that is why a lot of trans people don't want to do like anything activists like typically do. They don't want to be loud and be seen as like obnoxious and you know, just being triggered little snowflakes. I feel like this anti-SJW type of content from like 2012 literally ruined so much, you know, because it was portrayed as like, oh, these irrational freaks, these triggered little people who get offended over anything. Oh, they're just controlled by feelings while everybody else is like so calm around them. If you look deeper into it, it's like, oh yeah, these people said something insane. Of course, someone is going to get like really upset with it. Like I actually fell for that same rhetoric as well. Thought it started in 2015. Could have been 2015 with the John Peterson type of stuff. The "it's ma'am" memes were so fucked up. Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, brought to you by jerks who use mental illness to insult LGBT plus people and dismiss gun acquisition issues. Yeah, exactly. These people are like, oh, what about men's mental health? What about men's mental health? And then they turn around and be like, oh, join the 41%. You're not even going to make it till 30. To be honest, I want someone to make a video about the Takedowns Trio stream a while back. So much hypocrisy and misinformation. I don't know if it's worth it. I feel like working on this is going to be more efficient for my time.